Hi guys, I'm Talie.
And I'm Katharyn.
And today we're just going to be having a bit of a chat about houses for second and third year.
So just a few tips and questions to ask at your house viewing and things like that.
But firstly, make sure you have a budget so you know what you can actually afford. So there's no point falling in love with a house that you just don't have the money for.
Yeah, so just double check with your student finance payments that you're getting next year. Make sure that you look around a lot of different houses. Don't just sort of go to the first one and think, oh, I can't be able to look at everything else. So sort of have a look at a few and test out the market. But if you find one you like, there's no point wasting time and going looking at others. So.
Equally, just don't rush into it though. Make sure you actually want it and sleep on it. Don't just go to a viewing and then decide you want it. Double check with your estate agent first, but do take photos when you're looking around, because I can guarantee you'll probably look around so many that you'll forget which one's which, and just having photos will be able to remind you what you saw and whether you liked it or not.
Make sure that you check out the area that the house is, so and see how far away it is from uni, and if you're one for staying in the library late at night, sort of check if it's in an area that you'd be happy to walk back by yourself.
Yeah, just make sure you're happy to do the walk at 9 AM, because we live 15-20 minutes away and it's a struggle.
Yeah, and if you're not a fan of walking up hills, don't live in a house up a hill, because you'll regret all of your life decisions pretty much. But don't need a gym membership, so
yeah, that's true. Don't be afraid to ask as many questions as you need. Estate agents are used to it, so they're not bothered if you're asking question after question after question. And don't be afraid to book a second viewing if you feel like you didn't get enough of a feel for the house when you first look around. So
when you get a house, there's a chance that you'll probably be having to pay a deposit on it. It is actually law that all of your deposits have to be stored with the deposit protection scheme. So just double check that the landlords and the estate agents are going to put your deposit in the DPS, because they have to, legally they have to. You know that as long as nothing's damaged in your house, you will be able to get your deposit back.
So the most important question in my opinion is to double check your liability. So basically, if your housemate were to drop out, double check that you don't have to cover their rent, don't have to cover their payments or anything.
It's worth just checking before you sign any contracts, because some places they get you to sign as an individual room, and other places it's a joint tenancy. So just double check that it's their guarantor that's responsible for their rent and not you that's responsible if they aren't paying. Make sure you check what's included with the house and what's not. So white goods, utilities, see if there's a toaster, microwave, tumble dryer, things like that. Just check the inventory
to make sure, depending on your preference, whether utilities are included or whether they're not, because if they're not, you'll have to sort out your gas and electricity and making sure that they're all sorted. But then if they are included, it just takes a bit of the weight off your shoulders. And another big one is broadband, so making sure that you've got internet connection, because it is highly essential.
So also ask what the insurance policy is on the house. Some places might have just generic house insurance, but they might not have contents insurance, but it's often a case of your parents' insurance at home will cover your stuff at university.
House hunting is always a difficult challenge for many, and it's always a really easy challenge for some. Sometimes the people who make it really easy are just going to find and look through the front door of a house and say this will do for us because there's a takeaway at the end of the road. That's a really good idea. What we would really like people to do is to try and look at a few options. So you need to manage yourself well, you need to make sure you're looking at all of the information, and then you've got to see whether the house suits you. There does seem to be a bit of a rite of passage in Lincoln at the moment that if you haven't got your accommodation sorted before Christmas, then you're missing out on something. Well, you're not. You're just signing a piece of paper that's locking you into a £4,000 or £5,000 agreement in nearly 2 years' time by the time it's finished. If you wanted advice about the house, the landlord, then we will have that. If you wanted somebody to look at your tenancy agreement, we can do that too. We have a lot of on file anyway, but there is the advice service of the university and there is the student union advice service as well. All who are quite happy on a drop-in basis to try and give you advice if you want anything.
Thank you for watching.
We hope our tips will help you in your search for your house for second or third year. You might be having to stay there a couple of years, so just make sure that you're thorough, and if you have any other questions or you need any like assistance or something, go and see the accommodation team at university, because they're always happy to help out and they've got some good advice. So
Good luck hunting!